For the last 3 years, this small but mighty pedal board has been the backbone of my sound. And the heart of it is the HX Stomp. It's compact, it's versatile, it's a beast. This board has handled everything from live gigs, recording sessions, and it appears all over my latest singles. Spotify links in the description below. Today, we're gonna go through this board, how I use it, go through some sounds, and hopefully by the end of the video, give you some ideas for your next pedal board build. But stick around till the end of the video because there might be a big change coming to this board in 2025. So let's go. Let's talk about the components of this pedal board. But before we do, when I was planning this pedal board out, I had two things that I wanted to achieve. One, I wanted to make a small board. 99% of the time, this board lives on my desk and I don't want some big spaceship taking all the space on my desk. Two, I wanted to make a versatile board. I wanted to make an all-in-one solution. So this little package contains everything that I need. It has all my amp sounds and all my effects. I could plug this into a PA if I'm playing live, or I can plug it straight into my interface when I'm recording. This thing can do it all. But I want to be able to also disengage the amp models in here if I want to play my tube amps, and I could just run the effects off of this board, and this board can do both. With all of that out of the way, let's do a deep dive on what's on this board. All right, this is the pedal board in all its glory. Let's talk about the components. Let's first talk about the pedal board itself. It is a brand called Donner. You're probably familiar with it. You get it on Amazon. It is the model DBS100, and the reason why I got it was because of its size and the depth. It is 14 inches long by 7 inches high, and it is 2.5 inches deep. And the reason why I got it is because, again, I wanted it small, but because how deep it is, and because you'll see, because of that depth, that is where I store my power supply for this pedal, which powers all the pedals. And speaking of power supply, I'm using the Truetone SPOT Pro. It has 6 outputs with different volts and milliamps, 9 to 12 or 18 volts. And as you know, or if you don't know, Line 6 pedals are notoriously annoying to power. So if you're looking at a Line 6 pedal and you want to put it in a pedal board platform, you're gonna need a good power supply, and I recommend the Truetone SPOT. It's fairly reasonably priced for what it is. It sucks getting a power supply. I think there's nothing worse. I actually hate getting power supplies, but it's super important. So get yourself a good power supply. So that's the board and that's the power supply. Now let's go through the signal chain itself. The guitar goes into the first pedal here, which is the Xotic EP Booster. This pedal has been on every single pedal board I've ever had since 2012 or 13. Shout out my friend Doug Fury who showed me this pedal. It is a boost, it is an overdrive, and it also is an always on pedal. It's just a phenomenal pedal. Actually, this pedal just got back to me from Xotic Effects, so shout out Xotic Effects. This pedal died after 10 years of use, and I sent it to Xotic Effects and they just fixed it. I got it back, it's back on the pedal board. So every pedal board of mine has the EP Booster. From the EP Booster, it goes to the MXR Phase 95. I'm not a big modulation guy, but if I'm gonna use modulation, it's gonna be the Phase 95 from MXR. I have it in script mode and Phase 90 mode, and I have it pretty low on the setting. And honestly, I use this when I want to add a little bit of movement in my lead lines or my soloing, and if I want to sound like Van Halen. Oh, and I also use it if I'm playing Killing in the Name, that little D chord intro. That's what this pedal is. From the MXR Phase 95, it goes into my second overdrive or distortion pedal. Right now, I have the PlimSoul by Fulltone. This is a great pedal. It's actually 2 pedals in one. See the stage 2 knob right here? When it's counterclockwise, it's soft clipping, which is more like an overdrive tube screamer kind of thing. And then when you crank it clockwise, it becomes hard clipping. So it's more like a rat pedal or a DS1 type pedal. So you can blend the two. It's fantastic. It sounds really good with the EP Booster when you gain stage both of them together. But this pedal right here is actually interchangeable. Just this past year, I've had different pedals in this slot. I've had the Zeus by TC Electronics, which is a Klon type style circuit. I've had the Bad Monkey from Digitech. This is, again, like a tube screamer kind of thing. It's a really cool pedal. I've had the Overdrive preamp in this slot as well. This is from JHS, really great pedal. And for the longest time, I've had the Electro Harmonix Hot Wax. This is actually my favorite overdrive pedal. It's 2 overdrive pedals in one. Then you can have a lot of gain staging from the hot tubes to the crayon and then the EP Booster. So that's basically this slot right here. From this overdrive or distortion pedal, it goes into the heart of the rig, which is the HX Stomp. If you're clicking on this video, you probably know what this does. If you don't know, it is an amp modeler. It has IR cabs, it has microphones, it has all the effects that you could ever dream of using. It's a little rig in a tiny little box. It powers this entire rig. It's phenomenal. I could do multiple videos on this pedal and what it does. With this pedal, I've also bought this cheap $20 2-button foot switch from Amazon with a TRX cable. And basically this expands the HX Stomp so you can have more foot switches. So super basic, 4 pedals, that 1, 2, 3, 4, and I guess the 2 foot switch. So 5 pedals on this board, super simple. And now let's go see how I use it and how it sounds. So I run this pedal board kind of like an old school amp and pedal board rig combo. The HX Stomp basically is handling all my amp sounds, but it's also handling all my time-based effects, which is reverb and delay. How I run the HX Stomp is in preset mode. Basically, I toggle between the amps through these foot switches right here, and I use 2 main amps. My clean amp is a Vox AC30, which is the SX in here. And then if I toggle foot switch 2, that's gonna go to the next amp model, which is a Plexi style amp. I'm actually using a Friedman for that. It's like a Plexi on steroids. It sounds phenomenal. I also use Fender Twin Reverb and an EVH 5150, but for the most part, I'm just using a Vox AC30 and the Friedman as my dirty amp. These 2 foot switches right here control my delay. This first one is a Bucket Brigade, shorter time, which is about 250 milliseconds or so. That's for solos. And the second one is a dotted 8th delay, which I use a lot of. Go check out my singles. I have dotted 8th delays in both those songs. If you're wondering why there's no tuner on this pedal board, well, this third foot switch right here acts like a tuner, and it's also the tap tempo. So that, again, the HX Stomp does everything. And then obviously we have the drive section, and then we have the Phase 95 for modulation. All right, let's go over how I use this board. As I mentioned, I keep it pretty simple. I use 2 amps most of the time on the HX Stomp. I run the HX Stomp in preset mode. I'll show you what that looks like. So basically foot switch 1 and foot switch 2, you scroll up and down the different amps that I use, and I keep the same rig with both amps. So that's the preset mode. And the amp that I use, number 1, is the Vox AC30. It's called the SX. Here's what it sounds like. I like to keep it just a little bit over edge of breakup, kind of nearing distortion. And if I wanted to clean it up, I just roll down the volume a little bit. Let's talk about the delay, which is what I also use the HX Stomp for. And on this preset or on this patch, I have 2 different delays that I use. The first delay is foot switch number 4. And it is a Bucket Brigade. You can see it's a Bucket Brigade delay. So it's kind of like an analog delay. I set it to about 250 milliseconds, and it's just for solo. of makes it sound a little bit sweeter, and it's cool also when I'm soloing with a lot of overdrive. So it just kind of gives it that body. So that's my delay that I use for solos. The second delay that I use is the most important delay in my opinion, and I just use a digital delay. It's the dotted eighth delay. So that's this delay you can hear on my latest single, actually in both my singles. This is what it sounds like. That's a super important delay that I use, the dotted eighth delay. And again, I just use a regular digital delay for that type of delay. One quick thing that I also use is this third foot switch on the HX Stomp. I use it as a tuner. It's a great tuner, and it's super accurate. And also you can use this as a BPM, so you can tap in the tempo. It's a tap tempo. 1, 2, 3, 4, let's say. And here's a quick tip on the HX Stomp and how to dial in the precise tempo of a song. You tap or you place your finger on that button, and then the BPM is going to show up on the screen just like that. And then from here, you can just kind of dial in. Let's say I want to go 128. Then boom, you can dial in the correct BPM. So that's basically the HX Stomp. Let's go through some more sounds. So here's the EP Booster with the Vox AC30. I love this setting. It just gives it more body, it gives it more oomph. Add some delay. So that's the EP Booster. Now let's talk about my PlimSoul. As I mentioned, this is a cool 2-stage pedal. I kind of set it at this level, so let's see what this sounds like. Just adds a little bit more gain to what I'm doing. Stage it with the EP Booster, a little bit more boost. Let's add the Phase 95. All right. So that's basically one of my sounds, the Vox AC30 with all my gain staging, with my delays and my Phase 95. Now the other amp that I love using is a Friedman amp. I don't even know which model it is. Let's flip to it. This is the model, I call it Friedman Dirty. It's basically a Marshall Plexi on steroids. This is what it sounds like. Let's add the EP Booster. Let's add some phaser. Delay. So that is a small glimpse of our board that can do everything. So I hope it gave you some examples. I hope it gave you some ideas for your next pedal board build. But as I mentioned at the very beginning of the video, I've been kind of needing a change on this board, and I'm gonna give you guys a little sneak peek. I just picked up this pedal, the Strymon Iridium. I've had my eye on this thing for the last couple years, but I was such a loyal HX Stomp user that I didn't bite the bullet, but I finally did because I wanted to try it out. In the next couple weeks, I'm gonna incorporate this pedal into this pedal board. So obviously a pedal has to come out. So stick around for that. Add me to your notification so you will know when I add this pedal onto this board. If you need help on how to stack overdrives, I made a video about that. I'll post it right here. I will see you guys in the next video. Peace.